In this video, we're going to be talking about solving multi-step inequalities. So again, the only thing we need to remember when we're solving inequalities, we do the same thing as when we're solving equations, just if you multiply or divide by a negative number, you need to remember to flip the inequality sign. So, I subtract 13 from both sides. I get 66. So I'm dividing by a negative 11. Divide by a negative 11. Take your time. Remember to flip your sign. We get a negative 6. So I put my negative 6. D is less than negative 6, equal to, filled in hole, going to the left. Solve that inequality, graph your solution. Oh, I like this equation. I like this inequality because it's a non-typical equation. So you have to think, okay, I have here, what's the last thing that happens to that x? The last thing that happens to that x is I'm dividing by 2. So I have to get rid of the 2, multiply both sides by 2. So I have 5x minus 1 less than 14. Now I add 1 to both sides. I don't know why I added 2. And then I divide by 5. Okay. X is less than 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 1, 0. X is less than 3, less than, open hole, graphing that way. Now, this is the third video I've recorded, something I didn't really emphasize is the reason when we graph our solution is all of these are possible numbers. If x, say, equals 0, so if I were to plug in 0, so let's say x equals 0, and I were to plug in 0 here, would we have a true statement? Well, 5 times 0 is 0, so I have negative 1/2. Is negative 1/2 less than 7? There should be a 7 there. Yeah, that's a true statement. So all of these numbers that I'm shading are giving me true answers, possible answers for my inequality. Oh, this is a good question. I had some fun with these. Okay, so let's jump to purple, my favorite color. So I want to cancel out the fractions. So you have to look at each one of your denominators and determine what would the common denominator be if I were to have to combine all of these. The common denominator is 8. So I multiply everything by 8. When I take and I multiply 8 over 1 times 5/8, I get 5. I take and I multiply this 8 times the 3/8, I get 3x. When I take, now you have to multiply it to both terms. I know that as a student, I remember struggling with that. Okay, this cancels to a 1, 2, add 2. Okay, I'm going to flip that sign. So I'm going to say x greater than 7/3. When you flip the locations of the x's, you essentially flip the sign. But I look at it like the inequality symbol opens up to the x. So that's the bigger quantity. So it always has to open up to the x. So 7/3. Ooh, 7/3. 7/3. That is 2 1/3. So I'm going to do a 2. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I have my scale set up. They don't have to go by integers, people. Okay? So that is 2 1/3. Open hole. I'm going greater than, okay? You don't have to give me each one. As long as you set up what your scale is, you're good to go. And that's a good mathematical thing, especially when you get to some of your science classes. Okay, define a variable, write an inequality, and solve the problem. Okay, so I am going to say n is my number. I have to define my variable. 4 times the number plus 12 is less than the number minus 3. Okay, 4 times the number. 4 times the number plus 12 less than the number minus 3. Oh, that was kind of fun. Okay, I was trying to decide how I was going to do this. I'm going to subtract n from both sides. So I have a 3n plus 12 less than negative 3. I subtract 12 from both sides. I divide by 3. Now I don't have to switch the sign because the 3 that I divided by was not negative. You only do that if the 3 were to be negative. Ooh, lots of work on this one. Okay, solve that inequality, graph by solution. First thing I'm going to do, distribute the 3. Okay, now combine like terms on the same side. I have a 6c and I have a 3c, so 6 minus 3 is a 3c plus 6 greater than or equal to negative 2c plus 1. So that 2c is negative. If I were to subtract the 3c over, it would still be negative. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to add the 2c. I'm going to subtract the 6. I always like to work with positive variables because then when I divide, I now don't have to worry about that negative piece. So I have negative 1, 0, 1, 2, negative 2, negative 3. C is greater than or equal to negative 1. Greater than or equal to is that direction. Solve that inequality. Ooh, this is another good one. Okay, so I'm making us do lots of math here. So I am going to distribute the 7 through. So I have negative 7k minus 28 plus 11k greater than or equal to 8k distributing through okay, so combine your like terms on the same side. So I combine the negative 7k plus the 11k. So I subtract those two, 4k minus 28. On the right side, I have 4k minus 2. I'm going to subtract a 4k from both sides. Let me make that look a little bit better. So I'm going to get my variables together. So 4k's cancel. Oh no, they cancel. So if your variable cancels, you want to ask yourself, is 28 greater than or equal to negative 2? That is never true. Well, if you get an untrue inequality, this is no solution, and then you don't even have to graph anything because there is no solution. So now, what we want to do is we want to solve this one. Distribute the 2 through. So I have an 8r plus 6 less than 22. Distribute the 8 through, plus an 8r minus a 16. Okay, simplify, combine like terms on both sides of your inequality. So I have 22 minus 16. That is a 6. And it's a positive 6. Okay, sorry. So, subtract 8r from both sides. 6 less than 6. Well, technically that's never true. I know why. I know what I wanted to do with this one. I'm going to adjust it a little bit. I apologize. If you add in an equal sign there, because I know what I wanted this answer to be. Is 6 always less than or equal to 6? Yes, that is always true. Because 6 is equal to 6. I was just going through and making sure real quick that I didn't make any mistakes, but I don't think I did. Nope. Okay, I think that equal sign should have been there. So this is always true. So this solution is all real numbers. This symbol for that is an R with 2, basically stalks. So if I were to graph that, any real number is going to make that true. Okay, thanks for watching my video on solving multi-step inequalities.